Here's a look at your matchups, Herc. We got Copenhagen, Manchester City, PSG, Real Sociedad, Lazio, Bayern, RB Leipzig, Real Madrid, PSV, Dortmund, Inter against Atleti, Porto against Arsenal, and Napoli against Barcelona. Which of those matchups, Herc, are you personally most interested in?
Let me just say Barcelona and PSG may be in trouble. But that's for another conversation.
Okay.
The one I'm most interested in for obvious reasons, I'm going to go with PSV versus Dortmund. In PSV versus Dortmund, you've got the CONCACAF representation, the all-stars of CONCACAF, if you will, facing off against the winners of the group of death, Dortmund, with Gio Reyna. Nobody saw that one coming. And look, Serginho Dest getting back into his best football with Peter Bosch. Chucky Lozano revival after, I don't want to say it's a disappointing matchup for them or disappointing season for what happened against Napoli, but definitely it's a situation where I think it wasn't his best. For the team, they won. Now let me keep going. Malik Tillman, low-key sleeper for MVP for PSV, the way he's been playing. You know your boy's been high on him. I picked him to score the most goals of all the CONCACAF representation on that team. And then Ricardo Pepi, that when he does get a chance to play, you've seen how good he can be. You've seen him score goals, again, when he gets a chance to play. And then Gio Reyna. I mean, what are we going to see from Gio Reyna? I doubt we'll see a winter Gio Reyna transfer, but in case we don't, will he get time? Will he participate against PSV, against these CONCACAF All-Stars? That's what I'm most looking forward to.
Herc, I see this draw, and I feel like it's the rare instance where both teams are probably okay with the matchup, right? Who do you see as the favorite? Because to me, I know Dortmund won the group of death, but it's not overwhelmingly clear. I guess I've seen a lot of Dortmund in Bundesliga, so I know not to trust them.
Yeah, I keep going back to the Arsenal-PSV game, and that PSV showed me a lot. I know they're perfect in the Eredivisie, and we've got to give them their props for how good they are at the level they're in, but when they face top quality opponents in the Champions League like Arsenal, they buckled. And Dortmund, they were the opposite. I mean, sure, they started off where they were struggling, but they really showed me something against some top quality opposition in PSG, against Newcastle, against an AC Milan. If I had to back one team over the other, I would back this Dortmund over PSV.
All right, so Herc is picking PSV against Dortmund as his favorite matchup of the Champions League knockout rounds, or at least the round of 16. I'm going a little bit different. I'm going Inter Milan against Atleti. Now, generally, Herc, I think when we look at this draw, there was a lot of meh, right? There's not a lot of Hollywood matchups here. And I think there's very few matchups where you look at both teams and say, these two teams can make a run. This, for me, is the one matchup where outside of something crazy happening, like a miracle run to a semifinal for a club, these two teams I could very realistically see reaching the semifinal. Inter Milan rolling right now in Italy, top of the league. I think they've only lost once. Atleti have struggled a little bit in league play. They lost on the weekend against Athletic Club and really played poorly. But they were really good in Champions League. They won their group in Champions League play, so solid in Europe. And then you've got Pippo Inzaghi, good manager. Diego Simeone, good manager. So you got the tactics covered there. And then, of course, Herc, Atleti has been linked to not one, but two of our guys in Jonathan David and Santiago Jimenez. So maybe come this tie next year, we could have a CONCACAF player starting up top for one of these two teams. How you like that?
I love it. And you're absolutely right. Both these teams can do some serious damage. And you're absolutely right. There are some players who have been linked from CONCACAF, both Inter and Atleti. Santi Jimenez, a Jonathan David, a Tejan Buchanan has always also been linked to an Inter Milan, so lots to keep an eye on there. It's just tactically, it's going to be a fun game. And you're right. Come summer, we don't know, or come after this winter, there could be a CONCACAF player there. So it's definitely an enticing matchup.
And of course, speaking of CONCACAF representation in the Champions League, we got Alphonso Davies with Bayern. They're drawn against Lazio, and Porto against Arsenal. Maybe we'll see a little bit of Jorge Sanchez on the bench. What about the Europa League, Herc? What about the Europa League? We got the knockout round draw that also went down on Monday. Competition going to start up on the 15th of February. Here's a look at the matchups. Shakhtar against Marseille, Galatasaray against Sparta Prague, Braga of Portugal up against Karabakh out of Azerbaijan, Lens against Freiburg, little France v Germany there, Young Boys out of Switzerland against Sporting out of Portugal, another Portuguese team, Benfica against Toulouse, and then a couple matchups we're very interested in, Feyenoord against Roma, and AC Milan against Reims. Herc, what you got your eye on here?
I got my eye on AC Milan versus Reims. Let me tell you why, and it's no surprise. It's just because of Christian Pulisic. And Christian Pulisic, he's been must-watch TV for Milan. It doesn't matter what competition, it doesn't matter where he plays on the field. He's a player that is having a career best, not in goals, not in assists, in productivity, he's been very good, but in responsibility. Now, let me tell you what I mean by that. Sure, he wore the number 10 jersey at Chelsea, so there has to be some accountability, some responsibility that comes with that. But never in Christian Pulisic's club career have we said he needs to be the man. He needs to be a player that is successful in order for his team to be successful. That wasn't the case at Chelsea. There were other players ahead of him. I really feel that if Christian Pulisic is not successful, neither will Milan. Milan will not be successful in this competition unless you get the best version of Christian Pulisic. In terms of responsibility, he really has accountability and responsibility for the first time in I can't tell you how long, at least in his club career, as far as I can remember. And he just saved Stefano Pioli, his coach's job, last go around in the Champions League, last game against Newcastle at St. James Park. That was a career-defining moment for Christian Pulisic, and one that I think will do him massive favors with his coach. So because of that, and Christian Pulisic, this is a must-see matchup for me.
I'm definitely looking forward to this one as well. I think we're pretty sure, provided his health, Christian Pulisic will be in the starting lineup for AC Milan based on how he's played. Yunus Musa is maybe a bigger question, but I'll say this. If Yunus Musa is still, come February 15th, in the starting lineup at AC Milan, once all their guys who were injured at the start of injured at the start of the season in midfield are back and healthy, it'll be a real testament to just how great a campaign he's had there year one in Serie A. I'm going with Feyenoord against Roma. Herc, no doubt it's about watching Santiago Jimenez here. And basically how I feel about this is it's kind of his last chance to really impress, right? He's not going to do anything more in league play, in the Eredivisie, to impress potential suitors than what he's already done. He scored a boatload of goals at that level. Everybody knows what he can do. The only thing he can do to boost his stock is to do it against quality European competition. That's exactly what Roma is. It's a team from a Big Five league. They're managed by Jose Mourinho, who's going to have his center backs absolutely ready for Santiago Jimenez. So if we're looking for him to pass tests, Herc, what better test is there? European knockout football against a Jose Mourinho Italian defense to prove that you're ready for the next level. This is it for Santiago Jimenez if, and I'm assuming if he's still there come February.
A big if. If he's not there come February, it's because it's a panic buy by somebody and they drop massive amounts of money on Feyenoord's lap. I will say this. If memory serves me correct, Seb, wasn't Roma the opposition that Santi Jimenez faced in Europa League and he lost his head and got red carded again? So a bit of deja vu there against Italian defenses. And again, a true test for Santi Jimenez, who needs no more test for people to say he's going to have a big transfer, but a test nonetheless against some of the best defensive structured teams in the world.
Santiago Jimenez then with a big opportunity should he stick around with Feyenoord in the Europa League.